Hola controles, bienvenidos a su podcast El After. El día de hoy tenemos una invitada muy especial, Michele Adamson. Este podcast es en inglés, entonces si lo quieren ver subtitulado pueden entrar a YouTube o a Facebook. Los que quieren continuar escuchando en inglés, adelante, se agradece su apoyo. Hey Michelle, how are you?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here after all the madness in Mexico City.
Yeah, waiting for the drop.
Yeah,
Maybe this is
literally.
it. Yeah.
Literally. I'm so happy having you here. You are a big figure in the PSYTRANCE industry. I know you since, 2008 or something like that. And we have been together. We played together in Chihuahua and Monterrey. So basically here we talk about your career, how you started in the music industry since you were you can go long since you were a child. Okay. Which was your first approach and everything with music. So let's start how Michele Adamson started.
Well, if we go to the beginning, when I was a kid, I used to make up songs all the time. Like, as a very small child even, just running around, I would make songs in the garden. I found it a great way of expressing my feelings. Like, sometimes there's feelings you can't put into words, but you can put into music. So I took a lot of pleasure from just singing my feelings, basically, when I was very small. And then when I was at school, I was in the choir, and I was very much into singing and being in a school band. And we had a cool jazz band. And when I was about 17, 18, I joined like a jazz band in Switzerland. And we used to play these things called plateau libre, which is like open mic.
Yeah.
And we'd go and see all these other musicians. And in my band, I was like 17 years old, I think. And everyone else was over 50. These guys were like legends to me. There was Richard Lunn, who was just the most incredible guitarist. There was nothing he couldn't play. There was Peter Fretz and Peter Elias, one of whom made double basses. So these instruments are just such things of beauty, like a woman, really curvy. And he would make one and play the really super, super cool jazz. And I really felt like a noob. Like, these guys are so experienced. They know so much about music. Me, I'm just like 17. I'm kind of cute, maybe slightly out of tune sometimes. And they were really supportive and taught me a lot. And we got to sing in the Montreux Jazz Festival, which was really amazing. And then I came back to England for my education. I went to university and studied performing arts at Middlesex in London. And this course, I started off like majoring in drama, but in my course there were a lot of Spice Girls tribute bands, and for me that was not what I wanted from music, So I managed to tailor my course. I started doing modules on shamanism and on jazz, and I turned the focus more towards music by the end. And at this time I discovered, just before this, when I was in Switzerland, I discovered PSYTRANCE. So I was listening to the radio, which was illegal in my school. I had like a secret radio I would listen to when the lights were out. And sleeping in my bed, I would put this radio in, and you could hear the concerts that were happening in the valley. And one of them was on this radio station called Couleur 3, and it had this guy called Hallucinogen. And I remember listening all night thinking, wow, this is really different, really new. And then I went to university in England, and it was very easy to go to trance parties in London. So I met some friends when I was on holiday, and these very cool guys came up to me. These two guys, Ben and Gavin, came up to me and they're like, what are you listening to on your Walkman? That's how old I am. I had like a yellow Sony Walkman with a tape inside that I'd recorded from the radio, Hallucinogen. And they were like so sort of cool and snobby. And they were like, listen, they took the music and they went, okay, you're cool, you can come with us, So we met up back in London, and they took me to a place called The Fridge, which was doing Zuoshi and Mark Allen and like regular trance parties. And the first time I went there, I fell asleep at 4 a.m. on the bench because I'm like, 4 a.m., man, it's bedtime. And they were all, come and wake me up at 6 o'clock, like, you have to dance, it's the last dance. And we became like a solid group, almost like a shamanic group, We went like our Mecca our pilgrimage was to these trance parties every weekend. It would start off going maybe once a month, then once a week, then 3 in a weekend, like clubbing on Sunday morning. Like we really got into it. And I started to refine my taste. Like I loved Total Eclipse. I loved Extreme, Coxbox, Hallucinogen. There were really some distinct sounds. Like I love these artists where you can hear straight away, that's a track from Total Eclipse. Not like, oh, this is nice, what is it? There's so much trance music sounds the same as each other. And these were really distinct 90s vibes, you know. So I remember meeting this guy called Simon Holton at a trance party in the countryside. And Rajaram was playing, and already I knew everybody knew Rajaram because he has such a distinct look. He's such a character. He walks into a party and the whole energy lifts, you know. Wow. The vibe is amazing. So I was already a fan of Rajaram, and I met this guy, Simon, at a party, and he was the manager of Twisted Records. And a couple of weeks later, he invited me to go for a drink, and he brought Simon Posford with him. And I remember just going to pieces like a fan, you know, like, oh my God, I'm so honored to meet you. And after that, we actually started dating. And I moved in with Simon, and we lived together. And they were doing Spongel sessions at the time. They were doing Tales of the Inexpressible, which is the second album. Now, when I was at university, I was doing performing arts. So it was like I was doing dance and drama, and part of our exams was to make these shows. And I remember hearing this track, Rumors of Vapors, which is, I think, the first Spongel track on Infinite Excursions CD on Tip Records. And I thought this track was amazing. It told such a story to me. The sounds were like an alien language, and somehow I kind of understood it. And I remember thinking at the time, like, oh my God, one day a girl is going to sing on this music. It's going to be the luckiest girl in the world. Oh my God, I wonder who this girl is. I'm so happy for her. And fast forward a couple of years, and I'm living with Simon Posford, and they're doing these sessions, and they get to a lull, and they're like, oh, we need a new sound. And as the girlfriend, I was told, you can sit in the studio, but you say nothing. You know, it's like, you be very quiet, you can make the tea, and if I say, what does everybody think? That means, what does everybody but you think? You say nothing, you're invisible. So I was in the studio, sometimes filming, I have some great footage, and they wanted to find a new sound. And I was like, let me sing. And they were like, you sing? No, you know. Oh, maybe, okay, so we let you sing, but you have to be 9.5 out of 10, otherwise we never talk about this again. And I'm like, okay. Like the pressure was really on because I was a huge admirer of these guys already. And the track that we made was Dorset Perception, which is the first track I've recorded really. And this track, the vocal probably wasn't 9.5. Maybe it was close, maybe it was 9, but Simon spent like 6 hours working to make this vocal perfect. And that created this incredible sound between us of perfection, of beauty. And that really launched my career. I made backing vocals on another track for them because they actually already had a singer. And so I really feel for this singer because she was like the singer. She's Rajaram's goddaughter, Harry Arm. She has the most exquisite, pure, beautiful voice. And then this girlfriend comes in like, all sort of smoky. You know, I was smoking a lot of pot. And I became part of the band. We went to Japan, we traveled. And at the time I was still living with Simon. I went to a couple of Infected Mushroom gigs. And I was blown away by their sound. Like this, I went to this club where they oversold. It was illegal. They sold like 150% tickets for the space. So we were crammed in, like people could have died. Every time you put your foot up, you had no space to put it down. So you were only on one foot all night, you know. And Infected Mushroom, if it wasn't for their music being so freaking amazing, I would have left because it was so uncomfortable and it was dirty and there was sweat dripping from the ceiling. But I stayed because the music was so good. And I tried to convince Simon, listen, we need to bring these guys to the studio. And so he said, okay. And they came and stayed with us for 3 days. And we made this track called I See Myself, Fly Agaric. Fly Agaric is hallucinogen with infected mushroom. So again, it was like Simon was starting to get a little bored of trance, I think, at this point. And after 1 day or 1.5 days, they decided, not going to make this music anymore. We're going to play PlayStation instead. So I'm sitting quietly, very quiet, filming and just being invisible, making tea. And I see my dream collapsing in front of me, like the music of hallucinogen with infected mushroom together. This has to happen, you know? So they're playing PlayStation, and again, they were like, yeah, we need a sound. And so I said, well, please, let me try. And I made this vocal, and as a result, the guys took the track away with them. Simon made a quick mix. He's so quick and so incredibly talented. All his mixes is like live on the desk. So modern day music is very much mixed in the computer. Yeah. And this is just another level, you know, he's sort of deciding which parts come in and out, and bash, he made this fantastic track, like in 3 days, basically. And after that, Infected Mushroom called me up months later, and they said, we're making an album. Will you come to Israel? And they paid me a flight. And we did this album called Converting Vegetarians. And from that, I was introduced to a guy called Asterix, who was a big fan of Infected Mushroom. He was a kid back then.
Wow.
All on this incredible label, Omega, who was bringing us all together. Eyal, he was like such a dad figure, and, you know, taking us to eat together. And Asterix, we made a track, Closer to Heaven, which still, if I don't play it today, there's a riot in the party.
It's a legend. Right. I met you with that track.
Right, yeah. So now we have many remixes. At least I can play something more modern. But this was the original. And I remember being also in the car with Eyal, and he had on his cassette or his CD Sub 6. I'm like, what is this music? Like, I have to find out. And he was like, this is Sub 6. So we went and we made a session, and the session wasn't quite working. So halfway through, we were like, stop, vocal's not working, it's not coming. We go to a club. So we went to a club, we danced 20 minutes, we left, we come back, and we made the vocal Bad Bad Boy. And bang, we had another hit. And then I just sort of followed my ear, because during this time, me and Simon broke up, and this broke my heart. Like, I thought I was going to die of heartbreak. I'm a huge romantic, and for me, I didn't know anymore. All I knew is I loved this person, and I knew it more than I knew what my name was. And so if my relationship was ended, I didn't know anymore anything. I was so confused. I knew nothing. But all I knew is to follow the sound. And I followed the sound for several years around the world. It started to spread, because sound travels faster than mass. I think light travels the fastest. But sound travels faster. So I'm going to countries and my voice has arrived before me. People say, come to the studio. So for me, it was survival in the first few years. It wasn't really, I have to be famous or I have to do anything like that. It was like, I have a choice. I can sit in my house and cry to death, or I follow the sound, and the sound gives me purpose. So I followed the sound, and I didn't even come round for years, until once I was in a party with Raj Aram, and Raj said, oh, Michelle, we're so proud of you. You've made a career. And I was like, career? He's like, yeah, you know, you're doing all. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so. Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of the origin story, the backstory.
Wow. I'm amazed with your startup career. And I imagine that you finished a degree in performing arts.
I did, yeah. I went on and did another degree in postgrad for creative writing. And in my school, I studied languages and mathematics and art. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I always felt like I'd been born too late. And I'm like, I should have been born when it was women's rights, and I could chain myself to a carriage and I had a purpose. And I studied language, and I studied art, and then I studied dance and drama. And it was like, because I didn't really know what else to do, and it seemed like lazy. It's like, I'm going to study this because it's easy, I can do it. And then I studied creative writing because, again, this was in the time when my relationship was breaking down. I had to do something. And it was very cathartic to write diaries and write stories. And now, if I look back, it's amazing to me because I couldn't ask for a better education to lead me to where I am, I traveled a lot already. My father's a pilot. So I traveled when I was a kid a lot, and I experienced many cultures. And I grew up in Hong Kong, where technology is cheap and fast. It's like, so I was very friendly with technology. My father used to open computers. He had an Apple II. He would pull it apart, and I would look inside. And electronics were very fascinating to me. So all these things kind of started to make this person. And the party scene in UK, that sent me to other dimensions. And I really believe that in these other dimensions, somehow I experienced a moment of outside of timeness. And when you're outside of time, you can see your whole life as one. And I feel that I have a guide, or I have some connection to myself or to a higher self, higher power, that has just given me exactly at the right moment, at the right time, what to do. And I have real faith in this and real trust. And it's led me through electronics, it's led me through languages, through cultures, through music, to bring me right here to you.
Yeah. All your journey is impressive. You have a lot of education. You are a legend on this industry. Like, everybody knows your voice. When I started, I started playing the guitar, and I like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. And when I was in college, the people started, like, some making bands, and the other bands that I have from high school, they were on college that, no, we have to work and do boring stuff and everything. And I have some friends that listen to PSYTRANCE, and they shared to me Sextile and Closer to Heaven, and I hear your voice. And what I did at the beginning is I put that track and I take the tone and I start like making solos and leads and everything.
Wicked.
Yeah, and that took me to beatcontrollers, like to start to make music with the guitar. And my first gig was with Infected Mushroom. It was like a dream.
Yeah.
Like 2009, my first gig. You play with Infected. I do a guitar solo, and then it was come to me and you play very well. As like. Man, I'm your fan, and because I grew up listening to this guy. So when you have the opportunity to play with them, it's amazing. Yes, like for sure. And I have the opportunity to play several times, and every time I see them, I get impressed, and they remember me, like, yeah, you're the guy for the guitar, and it's so good. So yeah, I think that the music, it's a beautiful path because you know a lot of countries, a lot of people. A lot of talented people also, and that gives you like strong, like, okay, let me keep doing it, because the music, I think, is the answer, but sometimes it's a difficult answer. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, and some your creative process sometimes it's not good. You are at the studio and you want to do something cool, but you don't have it. You are like, the flow, you don't have it, and it's something that I was talking with Bonnen. Like, it happens, like sometimes you want to go to the studio to make something killer, and you can, and okay, let's do something else. When you go to the studio, how do you look for creativity? What inspires you to make something like a lead or a writing?
Well, the flow is a very interesting thing that we all chase, I think, these flow states, because when you're in the flow, you can achieve 10 times what you could achieve in 10 days when you're not in the flow. So I think the whole artistic process is really important, not just the moment where you're in front of your computer or with your instrument. It's the whole, and using that part of process, which is, eating chips on the couch. I know it sounds silly, but that is part of your process. You need to absorb, and for me, the travel, the meeting of energies with the crowd and with the different people, that also really influences what I'm going to take home, how I'm feeling, you know. The travel itself is really grueling, you know, these long flights. So you get home, you're super tired, but you're full of inspiration from the party. So you have to balance that moment of trying to push it when it's not right to really sensitive, like sensing those moments when you're ready. And also it's work, so you have to make yourself ready sometimes. These days I'm doing a lot of work online, and that really has changed the vibe for me, because when I'm in the studio, I have, say, anything from 2 hours to 1 day or 2 days to create something. Like just now I was in the studio with Jano and we did like 7 tracks in a week. It's amazing, you know. We had full flow, full energy, but there was one moment when we were going into the studio. I'm really tired. Do you mind if I just sit? I'm going to watch a video for 20 minutes just to relax my brain. And then I come in and now I'm ready. So it's knowing your body, knowing your state, and kind of flexing with that. In the studio, again, you're under pressure, especially if you're renting studio space. You're under pressure to make it happen in that time. And I really enjoy that, because I think of that as being squeezed like a lemon, like making lemonade, because you have to come up with something. So I have several processes for writing lyrics that I've learned through university and through my life, you know. There is a process, for example, free writing. If you absolutely can't come up with something, then you set your watch for 1 minute and you write anything that comes into your head. Oh, I wish I had done the shopping today. I didn't close the hotel room door. Oh, what if I need to get more money? Just anything, it doesn't matter. And then you set the timer when it stops. You look at your piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, you're going to have a minimum of 1 word that you like. Maybe it's like a load of rubbish, but you circle the words you like. You set the timer again, 1 minute, you use these words. And then you do it, you condense it down until you start to form an idea. Now, I don't usually use this because for me, I'm usually very, very inspired by the people I'm with. For example, I did a track with Scuzzy many, many years ago, and I walked into the studio and it was so weird. I honestly thought I could see the lyrics dripping in blood from the walls. And it was like, his music is so, back then it was like the kind of music in England that would make all the girls leave, you know, and all these guys with dreadlocks, and they would love it, you know, but it was really not a lot of feminine energy. And we did this track, and for me it was like imagining like a vision that just on the wall, dripping in blood, you know, and it happened in 20 minutes, bang, the song is done. And even he was like, no, but you have to spend more time. And it's like, it's not like that. Also working with Mechanica recently with Are You Awake? 20 minutes tops from getting the file to thinking of the words. I mean, the words are very simple, you know, are you awake or are we asleep? Is this a dream? I can't remember the rest right now, but it came really quickly. So sometimes it just comes and you have to trust that process, know yourself. It's a balance between shutting up your inner critic and having quality control. Like, you can't completely silence your inner critic, because then you would just be putting a stream of consciousness which isn't interesting to other people. But you can have quality control post inner critic. So what I try to do is shut the inner critic down completely, write for a bit. Also, for me, when I'm making music, mostly I'm doing vocals. I make production also, but more like a hobby. So when I'm making vocals, it's a process of kind of melody, rhythm, and words. And I wish it was a structure like, I come up with the words, then the melody, then the rhythm. But it doesn't happen like that. Sometimes it's the rhythm first, sometimes it's the melody first. It all kind of happens at the same time. And my frustration as an artist is that I'm recording on the mic probably too soon. You know, if I had more time, I would, what you would call gestate, like I would form the idea better before recording, but I'm making it up on the mic. So I'm changing in the takes the rhythm, I'm changing the melody, and trying to figure out what works by listening to it back. I also regret that everything I've ever done has been released. Like, that's amazing for an artist, and it's like indicative of the modern world. But I wish there had been a bit more quality control, because I go back and I would say, okay, not this one, maybe this one. However, some of the ones that I say not this one are the ones that are super popular, like Poison. You know, people love this track. In Japan, you know, somebody asked me in the gig, could I play Poison? And I'm like, oh my God, no, this is the worst vocal. Like, it's so, I love Alice Cooper. I mean, he's so cool. And we did this vocal after I flew 24 hours from different places. I went straight into the studio. I didn't spend enough time. I didn't spend enough care. And I could have done it so much better. And I hear it back, and all I hear is like, oh, I'm ashamed. Like, Alice Cooper, if he hears this, is not going to like it. But the people love it, you know, so sometimes I play it, but very rarely.
Yeah, I completely understand. And if you take a journey back when you started, it's not the same Michele Adamson from 2008, 2007, or 2023, but you got more experience in everything. But there are lots of tracks in history. I don't know, Paranoid from Black Sabbath. They make like the third track. They do it, but just, let's launch it. And it was a hit.
Yeah.
Breaking the Law from Judas Priest. They need to make more track, and they do it, popular track.
Yeah. I mean, even, I think my favorite Spongle track right from the beginning was a track called Spongle Spores. And when they ask in the band, like, what's your favorite track? And I say this one, they go, this one. This is the worst track. We only made this to fill it. You know, it's like, it's got nothing. And I'm like, so simple. It's so pure, this track. Like, the vibe is amazing. So, you know, I've, as much as I'm critical, I'm also forgiving, you know. So I look back at myself and I know who I was back then, you know, and I'm very glad that I had these opportunities to put the music out. And, you know, I listened to it with great, what's the word? Like in Brazilian, it's saudade. We don't have this word in English. It's like I'm missing, like, oh, that so sweet, you know. Oh, you really fucked up that. But it's like, sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Yeah, but it's part of this journey. So yeah, maybe you're not so glad for some tracks, but they're very popular, and people, I think I think you don't need to be so technical sometimes. Like people like originality, because I was talking something that I was talking with Ron, and right now, Bonnen, everything right now is like so meticulous and so perfect, and people like the
humanity.
The humanity.
Yeah.
If you play something on the guitar, or for example, when you're singing live, you can modulate your voice and you can do several things. But if you make some error, it gives something human. Maybe if you're very meticulous, it's like, oh yeah, I missed a note. But maybe that note that you drop was like a diminish of the original, and sounds good. It gives you like an accent. But that's part of being human.
Yeah.
Also with the auto-tune, it's so... I was talking Adele. Adele doesn't do auto-tune, and she's so talented singing. But that modulation, that natural from the chords, people like it. So something when you hear something so robotic, I hear so tracks, like it looks like everything is like all corrected by AI, and it doesn't fit so good sometimes.
Thank you for that. I will take that with me.
Always, yeah. When you're when you perform live, and I think people thank that effort about you taking the microphone and playing, because it's so easy to play to the track and make the mix, but you have your microphone and saying hello to the people and do the effort, because it's tired to sing.
It's human, you know. It's that's the thing. In the beginning, when I was listening to this music, part of me. So my group that I met, who heard me with the Walkman, and we went to all these parties for years, you know, together. They were like, you don't effing sing on PSYTRANCE. That's the one thing, you don't sing on it. Like, okay, if I was like, no, don't sing. Okay, well, don't sing. And it's like, they laugh now because they're like, oh, you showed us how you made a job out of singing on PSYTRANCE. But part of me agrees with them. Like, there's something about the machines, like, it's like a security in a way. The machines can take you within a very rigid space to these other dimensions, but the voice, the breath, that can bring you back, you know. So it's like a balance. But I still love, I still trying to find ways of being more and more psychedelic. You know, I use your voice to change the breath like that, to make it more psychedelic, because to me, the most psychedelic is still those tracks back in the 90s where they use samples from movies and they mess with the voice so that it sounds really, really trippy, and you enjoy the track, and then maybe 1 year later you're watching a movie and you catch the sample, you're like, oh, it's from the track, this is where it came from. You feel like you're connecting things in your brain, you know. So I love that, I miss that.
Yeah, when you talk about my man in freedom fighters, a lot of movies. Yeah, but going out of the psytrance, I think that the vocals is the most important in music industry, because all the tracks, depending on when you hear it, it takes you there. So you have like special moments in tracks, not only in psytrance, but whatever music, pop, rock, whatever. And doing putting vocals to psytrance, I think that immortalized tracks, because if you talk to any people on the psytrance industry closest to heaven, they know the track, but I'm pretty sure, and I can bet, because of the vocals. You remember maybe Sextile, because it's a killer like arpeggio, what Asterix did that time. But the Infected Moisture, Becoming Insane, I Wish from Skazi, all the tracks, like legendary tracks, they have vocals.
It's a really old school thing, but the fact is, if you went up to the DJ and you tried to tell the DJ, I want you to play this track with no vocals, you'd be like, I don't know the name, but can you play the one that goes dun 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 dun? They'd be like, ah. But if you go up to the one that say, listen, I'm the supervisor, can I get a taxi number? They know immediately, you know. So it's also a matter of being able to identify. It was the original algorithm is using vocals, you know, because now we're all in a society of algorithms, and being able to find the tracks. Like, I love these app Shazam things where you can just hold your phone and be like, oh, what is this track? It's going to tell you, you know. So vocals also on a really personal journey. It's like time traveling. I listened to my first album and it's like, it's not me. It's like a completely different person, you know. And I still identify with it, of course, but I just feel like I've been on such a journey since then that that's not who I am anymore, you know. And I love it. It's a record. It's a diary. Something I found that was really strange is you think, or I thought when I was writing lyrics, it's like something happens to you and you write about it. But for me, it was the other way around. I would write about it and it would happen, you know. So I started to try and be very careful about what I'm writing about.
Yeah, like, next I'm rich and super famous.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah, I think that the track, yeah, as you stated, it's a journey, and you can recall moments of your life or you were experiencing on that moment. And yeah, I think it's a good thing. But when you're listening to the tracks, yeah, what I was thinking at that time.
Well, there's a lot of pop music, you know, from me for the sort of the 90s, early 90s, that I didn't like, you know. At the time, I hated it. It was like so cheesy. And now I love it. Like Phil Collins is just, you know, I love it. And I think it's because it's the nostalgia. It transports you back to where you were. And so even though you didn't like it at the time, now you like it because it's a bridge through time.
Yeah, that's the thing about music. I love music. I think it's like this career of performing, making music, I think is something great because it's a voice of the soul and you express yourself freely. And sometimes people are going to like it, sometimes people are going to like it, but performing your tracks and imagine the people singing your lyrics is like amazing.
That makes me cry.
Yeah, you connect with the people, so it's great, it's killer. And I'm so glad that you do this and you write music and give a voice to the music. And so yeah, not only the synth, 303s and the saps. Yeah, I think it's better. And what would you say that is your favorite track? Like I'm honored by making this track. Your favorite track from yourself?
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, for me, it's a process of letting go more than because no track to me is finished. They can always be worked on more and more. And so in order to be professional, you have to exercise that moment of letting it go. And you let it go and you're like, but I could have fixed that, and I could have fixed that. But one of the tracks that I'm proud of is with Jano, actually. It's a track called The Book. And for me, it was a time I had some sickness in my family and I had to take some time away. And my world became like looking after children and hospital, and it was all very, very serious. And this track I wrote like having not traveled for 2 years, wrote in my room, and it's a track about alchemy, turning gold out of lead. And the lyrics for the first time, it's like complete. I'm happy with these lyrics. There's nothing I would change, you know. So it's very special to me. The party at the weekend, I opened with this track. And it's maybe not the most famous track, maybe not the best, but for me it has a very special place in my heart because it's the first time I feel like I really expressed what I want to express. Because words also are very limiting. Like I love to make vocals without words and with lots of effects, and I have these amazing machines, and you can change your gender. You can go from sounding like Arnold Schwarzenegger to sounding like a tiny little elf and things like that. And that's really fun. But to get the words and to get them nailed, that made me very happy. And all my work with Spangle, of course, they have serious quality control. So I'm very proud of that. And my work with Infected, the tracks, again, with Jano, I'm making now a remix of Blink to try and make it like a dance floor, because this is from the other side of Converting Vegetarians. It's not a track I can bring to my PSYTRANCE show until now, 20 years later. And the words were like, you know, the words are very powerful for me. It speaks of something I'm trying to express. And I get very frustrated trying to express the same thing. I'm only ever trying to express the same thing, which is basically love. But to express the same thing from all these different facets through words. And every time I get close, I also get further away. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be bringing this to the dance floor.
Wow, I will surely hear that track. I didn't know Hannah work, and we are good friends, and they always share me music. The last track you launched together, and like I listened to, was so killer. And yeah, and I'm looking forward to see what you recorded in Guadalajara, because I saw
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the videos on Instagram, and I said, like, wow, this is killer. Yeah, I really am. I'm a big fan of your voice. And then what you're talking about, you never satisfy with what you're launching. I read something about the rule of the 80%. You will never get the 100% of the track, but if you want to get every time to 100%, you will never launch anything. So that 80% will be a better 80% than the next one, and then the next one. Yeah, because it happens when you listen to a track. What I do is I finish it, I send it to the producers, I send it to Jano, I send it to a lot of producers in Mexico and Israel, and then I let like 1 week to my head like drop off from all the frequencies and everything. I listen in again. I say, okay, let me fix something else, and then I launch it, because if I don't launch it, it's like
you're gonna be stuck there forever.
Yeah, but a little bit of that changed my mind when I talked to Bonen, because he told me, man, I have tracks for 1 year, so don't get desperate for a week. Yeah.
No. Some tracks also, they take years to gestate. I have a track coming out this week. It's, I actually don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Kaike, but it's K1Q is the artist name. He's a new artist from Brazil. He's really amazing. And we've had this track a couple of years, since before lockdown, and we were just sitting on it and... to wait?
No, it's okay.
We were just sitting on it, and Oad from Sub6 contacted me. He's like, okay, the release date is set. It's actually the day I'm arriving back in England. And I'm like, release date for what? And he said, for this track. And I'm like, what track? I don't remember it at all, you know. And I was like, oh, not this track, because that one, the vocal was really bad. You know, we need to fix the vocal. But I forgot also, the time had been so long, I'd already fixed the vocal with him twice. And now it's coming out, and Awad is like, this is a masterpiece. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't know, so I played it this weekend for the first time, and the crowd loved it. And it's like, okay, you know, sometimes this process is really unusual, you know, so it's a lot about letting go. I think for me also, I'm in this super, super privileged position of being able to make a track and forget about it, because I'm not really making the track. Somebody else is making it. They're putting in hours and hours of hard labor. And I have so much respect and gratitude for everyone I work with who puts in that time, because, you know, I started producing a few years ago and I was so shocked. Like, oh my God, you know, if I go in and I do a vocal in 20 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, 20 minutes. It's like the work that I leave behind me for them to do. Music is also about work, and it's just about repetition and really attention to detail. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. You stay hours and hours at the studio. And the bad thing is a lot of people don't see it as a work. It's like, you're just making...
Oh, you just turn up on the stage and play.
But all the music production. Yeah, and part of me making this podcast is like to people in the scene know all the journey. Like, okay, who's Michele Adamson? Where he started, since when she started and everything. Also for all the music producers, like, they started when they are like 14, 15 years old. And now, 10 years after, they see playing on the stages, and people think that, okay, you open a computer, you open Logic, Cubase, or Ableton, next week you are playing on stage. No, it takes a lot of time, years. Yeah, but it's part of the... It's part of it. It's part of it. Yeah, sure.
Actually, I have my tea.
Color.
I forgot those there. It's okay.
Okay. You still respect the tea hour?
Tea all around the world in 80 days.
Wow. What tea is it like?
This is green tea.
Green tea.
Yeah, but I try every kind of tea. I love tea. Like, I think I would probably be happy to be paid in tea.
Oh, you're a sponsor. It's fun. Yeah, I think that's the goal. But you like tea, and that's great. And you can. I like to drink mate.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the ass to travel with the mate. Yeah, now with traveling with all of the podcasts, that it's just too big. And in Mexico it's not big or recognized, and they always ask me, "Is this pot?" And say, "No, it's not pot." It looks like it, but it doesn't smell like.
Smoke it and see.
Maybe a little experiment. Maybe what happened. Yeah, I think drinking tea is great. I drink a lot of water. Mate, when I'm in the studio, I like to drink mate. I would love to have like a more traveler set so I can travel with my mate and drinking. Yeah, but I like it. I like the tea. Red tea, I like.
Red tea. Yeah, me, any tea without milk. I'm not really a fan of the milk tea.
Yeah, water with...
Water with tea, like maracuya had an amazing...
Yeah, maracuya.
Yeah, that makes a really nice tea.
Yeah, one tea that I drink sometime was from Peru, the Coke tea. It was amazing, but you cannot get it in Mexico.
No, sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I travel with so many tea bags. You can see I travel everywhere with a flask. I travel with a kettle, making hot water.
Wow.
Yeah, tea is like a big part of my show.
Yeah, it's what you like when you get... Yeah, that's also good to be hydrated every time. Yeah, some people like to drink beer, tequila, whatever, but water and...
Green tea for the win.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, but it's very London or UK, like the tea hour. It's at 1 or 2 or...
Well, you have afternoon tea, but for me, tea starts in the morning. It's the first thing you drink. It's the last thing you drink. But for me, I change my teas all day. So I wake up with an Earl Grey, with a black tea, something with caffeine. And then towards the end of the day, you go through green tea to some kind of herbal tea, like what do you call it? Chamomile, manzanilla.
Yeah, manzanilla.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, manzanilla is to relax yourself.
It's really nice. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I bought a mate with manzanilla. It looks very good. Yeah, I like my favorite is with guarana. I found it.
Tea to put you on?
Yeah.
Tea to put you down?
Yeah. With a mate, it's a good one. So in the morning, when it's available, I drink with guarana because I love guarana. It gives you a lot of energy, a lot of punch, so you can be like. And then the afternoon, maybe just a red tea or
like rooibos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just to like relax yourself or rest. I'm not so much into coffee.
No.
Yeah,
I like coffee too, but as I get older, it makes me feel I'm getting more and more sensitive, to like subtle energy. So in the beginning, it's like in your 20s, oh man, coffee for breakfast, pot and everything until you just pass out and drink lots of gin and vodka or whatever. And now I'm like, I really try to feel the delicate calibration of the energy around me.
yeah, because the coffee, black coffee, I think is too strong for the stomach. And if you put milk and sugar and everything, it's
not great.
Yeah, not great now. And as you stated, when you're 20, 21,
yeah, it's good.
You can.
Now I'm in my 40s. It's like coffee is straight up and then straight down.
Yeah.
Crash.
Yeah. I prefer like to drink something more natural, water and everything that feels good. And and I tried to drink black coffee, but my stomach was killing me. So no, mate is good. Yeah, but it's black tea. I'm going to try it. I have a long time that I drink black tea, so I'm going
it's
to.
It's strong also. Earl Grey is really nice. Very fragrant.
Okay, I will look for it for sure. Okay, going back a little bit into music. Okay, you keep making music, and you have a lot of music on the pipeline. A lot of tracks.
Yeah.
Have you launched an original track for one that you have produced?
Not really. I put it on Bandcamp. Some of my own releases. Mostly, I'm messing around with vocals and using the vocals as synthesizers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's more of it just took me so long. It takes me so long to finish a track. So I made a little bit of dub music. I'm recording, I love that I get my friends to do the vocals. Because for me, it's like, this is what I do in my job. I do vocals. So when I'm producing, I bring my friends to do vocals, and I love it. Like many of them, they're not professional singers. It's just like my friend I've known forever. He's done a rap, like rapping, and he's pretty funny. It's nice to get your friends involved as well.
Sure. You get feedback
But you can find on my Bandcamp my solo releases.
Yeah, I will look for. Yeah, I will add it on the videos. People can. They already know you, but it's also great that know what you do besides the tracks or the verses with the artist.
Sure.
So yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm going.
I have a meditation CD.
Really?
I haven't released it yet, but it's pretty much ready. I have to go just for mastering. So I'll probably put that out in the next couple of months. Well, that's the kind of thing I like to do. I go in my studio and I make music to make me relax, before my day. So I go in and spend a couple of hours just making 5 minutes of meditation music, playing with the sound. I love it. I love the healing property of sound. And so out of that's just become like a quick, short album or a very long EP.
Okay, I like to meditate. It's going to be a guided meditation with your voice?
Some of them is, one of the tracks is guided meditation, but the rest of it is like a journey. It's sort of super low BPM, but it's trying to describe with music. So you have like organic sounds. To me, the sound is like you're traveling to the mountain, and when you get to the mountain, obviously the bass comes in. Sometimes there's beats, but not all the way through. There's a little bit of beat if you walk past somebody playing the drums, things like that.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I like a lot of meditation. Like on the mornings, I like to run in the morning, and sometimes I live in Monterrey. Monterrey has a lot of mountains, so I love to go on the mountain in the morning, like 6 a.m. and like meditate with the I don't know, the wind, the animals, and
I love the mountains. I love the mountains so much. I miss that where I am. Mountains are so powerful. They put things in perspective. They really make you realize you're quite small.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get the energy. I am also I live in Mountain City, but I also love to go to volcanoes. When I was in Costa Rica, I went to Arenal, and I went to the other one. I forgot the name that make eruption a few years ago, and I was over there, and you feel like all the energy, and then it started raining, and people were leaving, and I said, "This is perfect because I have the mountain for me." So yeah, I make a meditation like to see where I'm going, how is everything. Yeah, I feel like in safe, and I went down like dripping because I get so wet. But I say I don't care, I can change. I can buy a towel,
exactly.
go back.
Yeah, it's very special. I love the mountains. I was living in Switzerland, but I told you before, and the mountains there are amazing. When you have a thunderstorm, you know, the sound of the thunder as the natural amphitheater as it echoes off the mountains, it's so amazing. I remember recording it on a mini disc just because I was like, this sound, it's like the rumble, and it goes so long. And a friend of mine nicked this mini disc off me, and he stole it basically. And then he called me up. He's like, I stole your mini disc. I'm like, oh, thanks for telling me. He's like, it was so rubbish. There was no music to it, only thunder for like half an hour. And I'm like, yes, give it back.
Yeah, that's good. Like, yeah, some people relax. Right now in Spotify, there are a lot of playlists like rainy days, and yeah, it's good. Like,
it's good for the mind, you know, sort of to clean your mind through your ears.
Yeah, because I think not too many people can do like blank your mind. When you start to meditate, it's a little bit complex, like to get in blank.
Still your mind, yeah.
Yeah, it took me like years to get it in blank. Yeah, because people tell me you sleep so fast. Yeah, because I have worked a lot of years on my mind to keep it like blank sleep. Yeah.
What do you have any kind of techniques, or what do you tell your mind to still it?
At the beginning, when I started meditating, I used the guided ones, like in Spanish, like, okay, now you get relaxed and you work, you work with your breathing, like 2 deep breaths, and then put your thing on your feet, and then when you exhale, think on the universe. I started with guided meditation, but what helped me a lot was Qigong. That is like to put, you make like some poses to keep the chi, control the chi. And yeah, and you, I forgot that you transpose. I don't think it's the correct term in English. You give an intention to the energy that you pick up. So that helped me a lot with the movements and with the energy. Then there are several poses. If you see all like the katas, because it looks like very like Asian, it was with movement. And they have one that is on like resting on your bed. Okay. So you keep, but basically it's like think about your feet and then up and the universe. And I also have a friend that has a sensorial bed that is like the capsule that has like,
wow,
yeah, it's amazing.
Cool.
It has like water with the same density as the Dead Sea.
Flotation tank, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Mexico, it's not very common. In Europe, yes. Yeah, but okay, he has one on his office.
Wow.
So I like to go like every month or once a month, just like when I need to get something clear or when I want to think about something, like very specific. Yeah, but now since I've been meditating a lot of time, I know how to control the breath and I know how to connect. But I started basically with guided and then with Qigong. I still do Qigong, but now I like to listen to, I have like my killer headphones. So I put my headphones and the iPhone and I'm like resting, and then I fall asleep. Yeah, I think that meditation is very important to know yourself, but it's very difficult to people. I don't know if you know the term that is in Latin, betrayal. Betrayal is in Latin, but basically is go inside of your body, because it's very easily to criticize somebody else, but it's very complex on yourself. So basically, you need to write like, okay, which are my defects, which are my capabilities, why I need to work. And at the beginning, people will not write nothing bad about themselves, but you need to start to make the practice. Like, yeah, maybe I got angry with stupid stuff. Like, I get anxiety because maybe they overtook more time. Man, do something else. Or my flight got stuck. Man, go to the airport. Maybe you can know the love of your life in the airport. It can happen. Or eat something great, or watch the movie or the series or the video that they share. Yeah, because I don't use too much TikTok, but maybe sometimes I want to learn something about, I don't know, vocoder, because I use vocoder, but maybe I can use it sometime. So I take a tutorial. Yeah, but people is like less anxiety, and it's like an opportunity for many people. Or many people is, I feel so lazy, I never do anything. Okay, do a task list. Today I need to, I don't know, open the track, make the melody, and I don't know, maybe call a friend you never, long time you don't speak. Sometimes I do that, like some Israel people, long time don't speak. Interest, I send them a message, bro, how are you? Long time we don't speak. Everything okay? Like, yeah, I'm good with family. Hey, so glad you, keep connection, maybe. I don't know. So, yeah.
A new release with them, by the way, Intersys.
Really? When?
Oh, it's out like 2 weeks ago or something like that. Yeah, it's a killer release. You have to check it. It's called World Gone Mad with Intersys. It's an EP of 2 tracks. It's a remix of Rubber Hands, and it's a new track called Hypnotits.
Wow, I need to hear it.
You have to hear it. It's
yeah,
really good.
I saw that they started now in social media again. And yeah, I saw a release that they launched like 2 months ago. And I saw that they were making promotion. Yeah, actually, I talked to Omri, and he told me, hey, you're having a podcast. And I said, yeah, when you come to, they're coming to Mexico City in January.
That's right.
Yeah, so maybe I'm going to travel here and make podcasts with them. Yeah, I love those guys. Yeah, when I went to Israel, Moshe received me in Tel Aviv in his house, and he met his family, and he took me to shawarma, and it was fucking
The
amazing.
warmth, I love it.
It's amazing. Yeah, I hope I have those guys.
There's definitely like a parallel for me between Israel and Mexico in that the people are so warm. You know, they're quite family oriented and very, very warm. It's so nice. I love it.
I think it's more the Latin world. Yeah, you go to Brazil, also people is very... Yeah, but in Mexico, yes, we are like, oh, we're brothers, and hey, have a beer with me. Yeah, and maybe in Israel, there's a different... The thing is that they are all military, and when I was walking...
I know, there's many differences for sure.
Yeah, in London, I also have a good time. I went to a pub, and because I love heavy metal music.
Yeah.
And I was amazed on a pub, drinking tap beer, listening to Judas Priest. I was like, this is a fucking amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, I love London, and the UK, for me, it's the best. You, right now, you live in London?
I live about an hour from London, so in the countryside.
Yeah, but I think the UK is great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to go again, and I want to go with Loch Ness.
Scotland is so beautiful. I love Scotland.
Yeah, I because I know Stonehenge, and well, I know the UK, like the Big Ben and
Sacred sites.
Yeah, but I want to go like to that side of the country. I think it will be killer.
You must, yeah.
Yeah, but it's so great that you have a lot of music launches. You have an interest.
A lot of music coming. Yeah, a lot of music that just recently launched.
Like, how many tracks you launch a year?
I don't know.
A lot.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of artists, like 5, 6. You 20.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You're always busy. You're always traveling.
Always traveling. Always releasing. Again, just so lucky that I can go and make music in the countries where I'm traveling to. So I come here for one gig, but I can spend 1 week and come away with 7 tracks. You know, so it's a lot. And also when I go home now, I'm going to send off vocals in all different directions, and then I just forget about it. You know, so it's like you focus, and then let go, and then you're surprised when it comes back. Like, oh, now it's finished. Yeah.
Yeah. And besides music, what are your hobbies? What do you look to do in your free time?
I love to read. I love podcasts. I'm very interested in kind of working on myself. I started doing yoga a few months ago, so I'm trying to get fit and be healthy, and to give back to my local community, to my environment, and just to be more conscious and aware. And I'm interested in, I love movies. You know, I know it's a silly thing, but when you're traveling as well, you get to watch a lot of movies. I'm writing a book with a friend. We're like 75% finished. I'm interested in healing and in other dimensions and entities, in psychedelic experiences. I am passionate about walking my dog. I have a dog who I adore, and I walk when I'm at home every day. And we go out into nature and forest. I live in the most amazing forest. I'm very lucky. It's like one of the oldest forests in UK. It has many oak trees, like very, very old trees. And sometimes I arrive to the forest very stressed. But it's like a meditation. Like that, you go into the forest, and when you spat out the other side, you're a different person. You know, just more respectful, more humble, more grounded.
Oh, you have a lot on your plate. Yeah, when you launch your book, tell me, and I'm going to give promotion to it. It's about yourself, or like.
Well, actually, I'm trying to work on 2 different books at the moment, but the one where we nearly finished, it's about being a better listener, and how in this world full of noise, it's very difficult to kind of listen to people properly. As a podcaster, you're a professional listener. You've done an amazing job throughout this interview to give me a space to talk, but people find that difficult sometimes within their families, within the dynamic that they're used to, like with your parents or with your kids. You don't always see them who they are in the moment. You sometimes see them with all the history that you remember, and just how becoming a better listener can help you to become more peaceful.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it for that. And I understand you, because right now we have so much stuff going by, and there's a lot of dependency on the cell phones and the social media. Yeah, and I have been working like disconnect about on this career. You need to make content and make stories and music and videos and everything. But I try. For example, my cell phone doesn't vibrate. Mm-hmm. I have everything up. If I have a compromise with something like with you, like I'm going to see you at what time. Yeah, I'm like pending on the cell phone. But on the weekends when I'm going in my studio, I leave the cell phones. I disconnect from everything. If I have a date or a chat with somebody, no cell phone is like respect, because I've seen in a lot of restaurants and a lot of places that people are like chatting and
present.
And they go back, or family reunions. In my city, barbecue is like a religion. Every Sunday, you need to make a barbecue with your family, and in the weekend with your friends. And a lot of people, I tell them, hey, leave the cell phone. Let's talk. Hey, how's your family? How's everything? How's everything go? How's work? No cell phones, and and also with my family, I make that no cell phone, because my dad is like, he receives a message and he's like, man, fuck it. I have a lot of groups, a lot of messages, Instagram. No, you need time for yourself. Only if you have like commitment, go back at work or something, or when you're working with somebody else, or you're meeting with somebody. But when you're already there, it's like people's going to understand. If you send me a message and I answer 20 minutes, you're not going to be like, I fucking flash it. He answered, he's busy, or he's doing something else. Yeah. So I completely agree with you that people needs to work more on having connections. Yeah, because we also, with the COVID, maybe 2 years that it lasted, people lost the ability to talk in person. They cannot have a conversation, because for ourselves, we have more years. It's easy. For us, it was like, break down, let me work on my stuff, like make music or sing or learn something new. But a lot of people lose that ability to have that like real connections. They don't know how to handle a conversation, maybe.
I think also with as a content creator, it's quite difficult for you, because it's just so easy to get sucked in, and we get sucked in and we get these algorithms that are grabbing our attention, and you're going to be sucked into one thing, and specific to say they know you like producing this kind of content, so it's going to show you things that grab your interest. And before you know it, your time is slipping away. But also, it's kind of polarizing our society. People are getting into these bubbles and thinking that what they see on their phone, what they see on social media is real. And to an extent, it's real, but it's not everything. If we were just to look at, for example, me, I have a terrible habit with the weather. I like to check the weather app, like the hyper-local weather. I love it. What's the weather going to be in 4 minutes? So I can take my dog and know if it's going to rain or not. But I could also be sitting by the window and be like, oh, it's sunny outside. It's like you just look out the window. And also Twitter, things like that. I look in and it's just so much, to me, I feel it's very full of hate. There's a lot of hate going around. And, if you get sucked into that, it can make you very sad. It can affect the way you're seeing your normal life. And I just would like to reassure people that it's not all the way it seems on there. It's a certain extent of society, but it's actually quite a small percentage. The bigger percentage is that we are getting less violent, and people are connecting with each other, and there are many good things happening.
Yeah, and now with AI that people can create things that look very real when they're not real, that's worst because right now you go into social media and you see the perfect life, a lot of people and artists and everything, and you see, okay, I want to be like that. I see it like, yeah, I need to keep working, but a lot of people is depressed, like, why I don't have that kind of life.
Not like that, yeah.
And now I think it's even worse because you can make an AI of myself in a big mansion with 3 Lamborghinis and 15 girls, and it will look very.
And then your brain is addicted because it's like, oh, but this is what my brain wants. So I look at my life and I'm like, nah, I'm going to look at my phone. Phone's much more fun, you know. And for me, I have virtual reality, Oculus as well. And I loved it. In COVID, during the lockdown, I got obsessed with this virtual reality because what else am I going to do? I'm shut in my house, and in my studio, I have a great room, but it's no windows. And this is an incredible window to connect with people all over the world. But the balance for me is you have to disconnect. And for me, like I say, I'm blessed by having an animal that I care for, that I'm forced every day to get out of my house and connect with nature. To me, that is the real internet. It's the roots of the trees, the oxygen that it's giving you, just like getting off the digital and back to the analog.
Yeah. We need to do it since in our careers, but yeah, I'm completely aware of that. And yeah, I love like every day go out, run, go to the hiking, go to the mountains. Sometimes I go alone, and I'm taking pictures, and I met people like, hey, what do you do for a living? And say, no, yeah, I do this, I do that, and people is like you make connections, and then you get groups like for go hiking and everything. I love to go to 5Ks, 10Ks, running, 21Ks. And I always go alone, and I met a lot of people. It's fun. It's
fun. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And you make like a lot of connections with people, like getting tired, and maybe the hit in the back. You can do it. They get amazing energy, and people start running.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And yeah, and I love making contact, the podcast and the music and the guitar and everything. I love it. But I love this kind of conversation. Like, hey. How you started and everything, and on the gigs you met a lot of people, and I was talking this with Atik. I know him for a long time, but we never chat because it's only we see on the gig like, hey my friend, or with Knockout with Anwar. Long time we met, and hey bro, how are you? Yeah, good. What's okay, great.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, or maybe on the WhatsApp, like, hey bro, what's up? Hey, everything okay? But we have the podcast is that I met the person, like what he likes to do, what he motivates, what experiences they had. So yeah, I think this format is great, and I like to hear podcasts also when I'm driving or when I'm at my house, like when I'm doing something like when programming the content. Like okay, the podcast this podcast launches every Sunday at 0 because it's called the After Party. So it's like when you listen it after the party on Sunday when you're in the hangover. Yeah. And so the week when I'm doing like all the clips and all the everything, like I put a podcast. I like Joe Rogan and all the artists. And I listen to him and I'm like making on. Or some things I really want to know about an artist's career because like you say in social media, if they say Michele Adamson, they know you a long time, but if they see your social media, it's like, oh, she's in London, she's in Turkey, she's in Israel, she's in Mexico, but they don't know that you started as a young kid in school, going to raves.
Oh my God, I went to really, I started because the only reason I started singing professionally because I wanted to get into the party for free. It's like, this was like, okay, if you sing, you can have a ticket. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah. That's how they started, and now you can see all the journey and all the career and how music have been taking you all over the world and met a lot of artists and make a lot of content. Yeah, I'm so amazed with your history, how you started. Yeah, because I met you in Monterey and Chihuahua, and I remember this was a fun story. We played together in Monterey, and the next week was in Chihuahua, and we were at the airport. And we were at the airport, and they told me you cannot get into the plane because they oversell the flight. And you told me, don't worry, this happens every time. My father is a pilot. you will get into the plane. Because I said, I need to travel to Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And then the guy told me, okay, you have your plane ticket. And it was like, and I have that story from you. You told me that. Yeah, Psytrance stories. So, well, I don't know if you want to share something else.
Just thank you for having me. This has been a really great conversation. I've got lots to take home with me. I really love the part about humanity and the imperfection and how that we all resonate with that. And in a culture of AI, you're right. It's the sort of, there's something slightly wrong with perfection. You can look at something and it's technically brilliant, but unless it has that kind of soulfulness. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to practice to be better, but I'm also going to be easier on myself when I make a note that isn't quite the harmonious perfection that I look for. I love also that, to me, I think of us all as a symphony, and there's some people you're with who you resonate really closely, but because you're so close, actually it's like a clash because the notes are so close. And you have the ones that you resonate, it makes a beautiful harmony, but a beautiful harmony all the time would make you feel sick, I think. You add in that discordant kind of heavy metal rock, and before you know it, we've really got something interesting going on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, going back to what you say, I read a quote that it says music also have white and black notes, so such as life. So everything can be so perfect. You need to leave like maybe not so great stuff, but it makes music. It makes life. So
the best gigs, are also sometimes the worst. So it's like that's something I was talking about with Megalite, is that sometimes we have these experiences where the gig is fantastic, but something around the gig, like the travel or something, is a complete disaster. Or sometimes you have a really smooth travel, everything's perfect, then you have a bad gig. So it's like really experiencing and surfing the highs and the lows. And this weekend, so the speaker fell on my head before I played, and in a weird way, it's like it was enough to wake me up, and it was almost enough to knock me out, but it was just close enough. I was reading about Teotihuacan, and I'm very interested in Mexican shamanism and this old history of like what kind of spirit there is in the land, and just only saw the pyramid from the taxi. But I'm like, okay, so I'm looking on the Wikipedia and like on my device for the information that really I should be connecting to the ground with. And one of the things I read is that for a while they thought it was built by Toltecs, which is all these Don Juan books that I read. I don't know if you heard of it. And then they found it's not that, because Toltecs were later on in life. But one of the things that the Toltec shaman, I understand, is that they sometimes give you a hit between the shoulder blades to get the young novice outside of themselves and into some other dimension. So just before I played, I was like, okay, I can still stand. I didn't get it between the shoulders, but I got it on the head, and I'm taking this knock to really kind of connect with everybody and be really, really here now. And if it wasn't for the people of the gig being so open and so warm and so loving and supportive and such beautiful smiles, I couldn't have done it. So it really was like a very present now moment of symbiosis, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, the good thing is that you are okay, and
yeah, exactly.
You can perform. Yeah, when you sent me a message, I was like, I didn't understand, but then I started sending messages to all the people in the party. Well, what happened? Yeah, because I was with some friends eating, and I was just waiting for you when you go back, and then I read the message and and then you tell me I'm going to the hospital. I say, what the fuck? And I started sending messages to all the people in the party, and they told me, yeah, the speaker fell down. And
I need to ask, if anybody has a video of that, I would love to see it. Yeah, really, I would love to see that. There were so many people filming, so it's possible that somebody caught that on camera, because that's my fail of the year for sure.
Yeah, do you know who was playing before you?
It was the owner of the party. I think his name was Alex, maybe, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to ask. Yeah, I can ask on my social media too.
Yeah. I would love to see that, because to me, that was really something that's never happened before. But to be knocked out by the speaker, floored, and then bounce back up and do the show, it's like, what more can I do?
Yeah, the good thing is you're okay. I was so worried. I was so worried at the beginning, but
Yeah.
Now we're here.
We're here. I'm okay. I have a really sore head, but otherwise I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm going to ask to everybody to share the video now.
Yeah, if there's a video, I gotta see it. I gotta make a meme for sure.
Waiting for the drop. No, this chat was so amazing. Knowing you, I have met you before, but we never have this time to chat and know about all your history. I want to thank you both for your time for this spot, and please share all your social media. You can share to the camera.
So I'm on Facebook with facebook.com Michele Adamson Rocks. On Instagram with Michele Adamson Official. On SoundCloud, I don't use so much, but Bandcamp I use. You can find me, I think it's Michelium, but if you just search Michele Adamson on Bandcamp. Something I love about Bandcamp is since lockdown, they're doing Bandcamp Fridays. So the first Friday of every month, all the proceeds of Bandcamp go to the artist. So if you feel like supporting artists that you love, buy one of their tracks on a Bandcamp Friday or any day, and they're going to get a lot more of the revenue so that they can keep doing it. So thank you for your support. Come and find me on Insta and Facebook or Twitter. Love you guys. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I will add all the links on the YouTube video, and on Facebook I will tag you, and also on my Instagram I share like all your links and everything so people can support you. And this my network right now is like more free space. Like all the invitees that have been here, they send me what they launch and I share it. And I always talk to all the invitees that this is a community, so everyone is support. So I have artists here from EDM, techno, psytrance. So we do the same stuff. Yeah. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it. It's because of people like you that get the vibe keep going, the after party, and it also raises the profile so that people know what's happening. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people wants to know your history. You're a legend in this industry. I hope sometime in the future have Infected and also Asterix. But thank you so much for being here. Let me change to Spanish just to close the program. Muy bien, todos los que escucharon o vieron este podcast, sigan a Michele Adamson en todas sus redes sociales. Las estaré compartiendo como quiera ahí en mis redes. Y pues bueno, a todos los que escucharon, vieron este capítulo, se les agradece su apoyo, yo los quiero mucho. Dale like, compartan y nos vemos en el próximo capítulo. Hasta luego.